Hey, welcome, welcome, welcome. Get the cough out of the way. So, anyways, I'm making a video today, and I know, surprise. But here's what I want to talk about. I just did a card show this weekend. It was called The Big One, and it was a big one. 3 day show, and I set up and I sold $3,000 worth of cards. And this is one of those things that, other than grading, I think selling cards and especially card shows is the two things I get asked the most working at the shop at Mike Stadium Sports Cards. And a lot of people know that I regularly set up. I have not been regularly setting up recently, but I used to regularly set up. So people ask me advice. And so I'm here to give you advice. So let's talk about setting up at a card show. First off, got to decide if you need one table, two tables, whatever. Kind of figure out the cards you're going to sell. Now, here's the thing. Don't go out and buy stock just to have cards for sale. I'll tell you, there's nothing wrong with picking up, say, some $2 cards that you think you can flip for $4 or $5 or something like that. There's nothing wrong with that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying don't go, man, I don't have any quarter cards. I'm going to go buy these boxes from this guy for $5 that's selling them on Craigslist. I'm just going to huck them on my table and put quarter a piece or something. That's not going to work. I'll tell you right now, there's a reason that guy's selling that whole box for $10. Now, sometimes you get a guy like me that's just getting rid of stuff. And so sometimes there is a good deal, but really don't go out putting money out there with the expectation of setting up at a card show and making a lot of money, is what I'm saying. You're kind of getting into some gray areas there. So my suggestions, first off, and this is so simply easy of a thing, but I don't know why people are just complete idiots when it comes to it. First off, don't just sit in your booth or behind your table and stare at your phone or just not talk to people. Literally, people walk away. Hey, how's it going? How are you doing? Oh, hey, I like that Calgary Flames shirt. Oh, all right, St. Louis Cardinals, buddy. They won last night. Kind of talk to people. They're walking by, talk to them. Hey, how you guys doing? Hey, how's it going? Hey, I like your this or something like that. Talk to people. Like, I cannot tell you how many times I very clearly remember a booth that was at the All Seas card show. Huge booth. I'm sure this kid was just covering for somebody. I sure as heck hope so, because if not, he had some really nice stuff. He had like slabs, and he had like a box of $5 slabs and $10 slabs. Remember, this guy sitting there just staring at his phone. And I walked up and I'm like, start looking there. It's like, hey, how's it going, man? And he's just sitting there. And he kind of looks up and hey, he goes back. I'm looking through and I'm like, hey, you got some nice slabs in this box. Nothing. Didn't even look up his phone. I was like, hey, are you making any deals? Like if you buy multiples? Nothing. So I just put down the cards. I didn't even continue looking. Didn't care what he had. And I was like, have a good one, man. Walked away. Never looked up at his phone after that. Never acknowledged that I was there. And it's like, I probably would have spent $100, but he couldn't be, whatever he was looking at on his phone, couldn't be bothered. And so, and I see that a lot. I see the guy that's just sitting there, just, or, whatever, talk to somebody, talk to people. I don't mean this in a mean way, and I include myself in this category. All people are stupid. So also, doesn't matter what signs you make. You could put buy 3 cards for $1. You could put deals on multiple, everything half off. It does not matter. 99% of people aren't going to read your sign. So when they walk over, if you're doing I did that. That's one thing I will talk about here later, but that's one thing I do is I'll do like half off on these or something at a certain time because I just want to get rid of stock. But I will tell people when they walk up, hey, everything is half off right now, man. I got to get rid of stuff, stuff. Didn't matter. I made a giant sign. Doesn't matter. Most people don't see it or pay attention to it. I usually, the way I configure, and when I say I made $3,000, I sold one card for $500. Other than that, my biggest sale might have been $100 card or something. I sell a lot of $20, $30 cards that I put in my case That's one thing that you need. And you can buy these ones that go on the wall at like schools or wherever, I don't know, institution things. And it's like a poster case. It's made, it's got a lock. It's pretty thin. It'll hold like a PSA SGC slab, but it doesn't have a lot of room. You can't do a lot of stacking in it. But they're like $30 and you can buy one. It's a decent size. Set it down. They're on Amazon. You set it down, put your $20, $10, $15 cards. Put some kind of the fancy things. I always think of Dwight Schrute on the you need your money beats in the front. Because people will, if you just have boxes, it doesn't matter if you put Star Wars cards, everything for a penny, and a giant sign, and you're pointing at every dude wearing Star Wars stuff, and you're, hey, you like Star Wars cards? I got them for a penny. Some people are just going to keep on walking. Weirdly, though, if you have that case, people will come by and look at your case. So you want a case. So that's my suggestion. If you can't buy a case, here's the thing that you can do. Lay your cards down on the table. Go buy yourself a piece of plexiglass at like Home Depot or whatever. You can even get them to cut it for you. Set that thing on top of your cards. There you go. At least you have them kind of protected. It's not that people can't steal cards out from under it, but it's just a little barrier between you and them. If you're helping this guy something, I mean, I wouldn't go plexiglass and go put in a $100 or $20. Even in my plastic poster case, I tend to put the more valuable ones in the bottom because it lifts out, or I put the more valuable ones in the middle and I put the cheap ones around the edge. Because then if you kind of clicked it up and you like dug out a card, well, whatever, you stole my $8 auto. I more power to you at that point. And I mean, who knows? People might steal stuff from me all the time, but you know, that is my suggestion. Also, price all your stuff. Nothing infuriates me more than at a card show, and you'll walk up, and the guy's got 20 cases across tables, and there's some amazing cards, and not a price on them. Because here's the thing, and I have had this happen a million times. I go to a lot of card shows and stuff. Is you're like trying to get the guy's attention. He's over there helping this guy or this guy. Maybe there's another guy in the booth. Hey, how much is this card? Oh, I don't know. That's Pete's card here. Let me get him. And then he's like, oh, okay. And he's like, looking on his phone, and he's looking for comps. Oh, which one is this one? And it's like, he's got 20 cards I'm interested in. And this whole system of him to then go, $400. And I'm not interested at $400. I thought it was like a $200 card, you know, like, or maybe he's asking way more than comp. I'm not going to sit here and comp your cards. That's not my job. You're the one selling them. And you got to remember too, comps. I hate comps. I will tell you that right now. People were all about comps. Comps are the worst thing ever to ever happen to the sports card market. I get why they exist. I get the thing on them. I hate when I have a card listed sitting in my case and it's $8 and a guy comes over and he's looking at it, and then he's sitting there for the next 9 minutes looking at comps, and he's like, here's the thing too. When I comp cards, when I look them up and I comp cards, I put them below comp. If that card sells for $10, I'm putting it at $8 because I want you to buy it. And it's so funny that this guy will like look up comps and everything, and I already know I'm under. Then he's like, hey, would you take 6? And I'll take 7, you know, or something. I could only do 6. Sometimes I don't even care. I'm like, fine, you know, but it's like, you just spent all this time because in his brain, hey, it's a $10 card. I just got it for 6. I'm going to go sell it for $10 now and make $4. More power to you. But it's like, remember, the value of anything is always what somebody is willing to pay you for it. I could tell you that this card right here is $1 million. Is it $1 million card? It's an Ovechkin Hockey Superstars out of a free pack. I'm going to say this is a 25-cent card. But I mean, I can list it. I can put it on eBay and list it for $1 million. If there is an idiot moron out there that will pay me $1 million, then I guess it was $1 million card. Most of the time, nobody's going to be that dumb, you know, or you can con people and do that. I mean, I see it on eBay the other day. The other day I was looking up something and it was the most hilarious listing ever on eBay. It was a 1987 Jose Canseco card. So nothing special from Topps or whatever, but it said super rare card 500 multi-error card. And then the guy literally had blow up pictures of like the specs on the card, calling those errors. On the back where it had like something, there was like a line through it, so that was an error. A super rare halo around his hat, if you look, or something. Like, they didn't have Photoshop back then, so here's something that you might not be aware of. When they went and slapped a hat on a guy and they had to change it or take the logo off or something, they literally like airbrushed that stuff back then. So that's why there's like a halo along his brow line, because okay, Jose Canseco is playing for whatever, the Dodgers and not the A's, so they had to switch his uniform to a blue one with a blue hat and then make it look like a Dodgers hat instead of a, whatever photo they had. That doesn't mean it's an error card though. Like, and the guy who, of course, was asking, I think he was asking $12,000 for it or something. First off, I feel bad for anybody that actually buys something like that. We have people that come in with cards. We have people that come in with cards that they think are super valuable because they'll see listings like that. An error card is literally the Frank Thomas no name on front rookie, the Billy Ripken F face. Those are the error cards. Those are error cards. Those are the ones out there. There's a million. There was zero quality control in the 80s and early 90s when they made 900 cards for every person on the face of the planet. There's cards where it literally is my picture and it says Dave John Bowski or something, where they got players mixed up even on the cards. Doesn't mean it is an error or it is a mess up or a screw up, but it was more quality control issues than errors that does not make them valuable. I remember Al Herboski has like a card where, the guy's like 5'10" or something. It lists him at 4'10", or something like that. It's not an error though. They just screwed up. Somebody typed a 4 instead of a 5. That's all it is. It doesn't matter. But what I'm saying is, I just went on some crazy tangent there, is price your cards, price them accordingly. Now, you do not need to look up every single card. You're going to kill yourself. My cards that I take to a show, I literally have like a 2-row box that is going to be the stuff that I'm actually going to comp out. The rest of them, I eyeball and I go 25 cent, 25 cent, 25 cent. And then maybe I get this one in as a rookie and I go, $2, right? That's how I comp my cards. Literally, that's how I do them. Is I will have 25 cent boxes. Literally, the 25 cent boxes are cards I'm just getting rid of. I do not care. Funny thing that happened at the show is I had a Bo Jackson rookie. It's like a $6 card or something in the 25 cent bin. Guy's like, hey, you realize you have a Bo Jackson rookie in here? I said, yeah, I'm sure. He goes, I was just letting you know. I didn't know if you put it in the right thing. No, I appreciate it, man. It's 25 cents. Here's the thing is, that Bo Jackson, I probably did list at $6 at one time. Nobody bought it. So then I probably knocked it down, and I probably even did 50% off at one point, and it was like $3. Nobody bought it. So then like the next show, I put it at like $2. Nobody bought it. Next show, I put it at $1. Nobody bought it. So then I probably finally kicked it into the quarter bin. Here's the guy finding it. That's the way I get rid of cards, is I start maybe with the higher ones. I'll comp them, go lower, and they just filter down into the quarter. And I want the quarters to be the best deal. And then I always tell people, I used to put signs up, but I just tell them when they come over, more cards you get, the cheaper it's going to get for you. I don't do the whole make them negotiate with me. You can. I leave a lot of money on the table. I made $3,000. I probably gave up 10%, $300 extra. I could have made $300 extra. Probably could have. Doesn't matter to me. Here's the thing is, like, I remember a guy, I counted up all his cards. He had like $122. He said, what's the best you can do? I said, give me $100. The guy shoots back, I can do 80 or something. Nah, like I literally just gave you 22% off right off the bat, or 20% off or whatever it is, like I'm going to throw out like a good deal. You hand me $75 worth of cards. I go, give me 70. Maybe you go, will you take 65? Yeah, sure. Always ask if you're the one buying. Always ask. Money, cash is king. Usually somebody's like me and they just are there to get rid of cards. Here's one thing I will say. People always think about this. They're like, well, I don't know. Maybe I paid $3 for this card, so I want to make sure I get like $5 for this card. Here's the thing. My cards that I take the card show, I have no idea what I paid for them, to be honest. I got most of my stuff from ripping boxes and ripping open packs. First off, worst investment you can ever make. You will never make your money back. You can't go buy a $200 box. I mean, you can, but the law of averages, about 99% of the time, you're going to open that $200 box and you might get $50, $100, if you're really lucky, $150 worth of cards that you can sell. Every now and then, though, you might buy that $200 box and you got that $1,000 card. But that's where you cash in that $1,000 card and it just paid for the 5 boxes that you took a loss on. You know, that's the way it works. Law of averages, though, they're all slot machines. You're not going to be able to do that every time. You know, I know as a fact that my giant stack of cards that I had laying around here and stuff, 99% of those came out of boxes and packs. So I'm already at a loss. So I don't care. I'm just trying to get back some of my money. I'm trying to clear up room, trying to clear up space. And I'm also just trying to talk to people, have a good time, you know, things like that, right? Put some extra money in my pocket, gives me more stuff. As long as I don't roll out with my $3,000 and then go buy, you know, I don't know, 2 Panini Prism football boxes because I'm looking for the CJ Stroud something, you know, that's the worst thing you can do. Take that money, go buy cards that you want, which is what I've done. I've literally, there was a guy, I bought like a $200, here, I got it right here, bought a $200 Adrian Peterson auto, you know, from him. Super cool. I collect Adrian Peterson. That's what I'll do is I'll take my $3,000, I'll go buy that $200 card I want, you know, and it's for me, for my PC. One day, maybe I croak and somebody can sell Adrian Peterson's card for $300 or $100. Who cares? I'm dead. They don't care, you know? And so that's the thing is like, you know, there is the fun of the game of selling and stuff. I don't sit there and negotiate and sit there and barter back and forth. I either just tell people, I also have people all the time. Here's the thing. When you set up at a card show, again, price your cards, buy a price gun. Oh, I took it upstairs. You can buy a price gun for like $15 on Amazon. Just go buy a cheap price gun, click, 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 price out your cards. You don't need to price out the dollar ones. That is one of the things that's funny because I always constantly have to tell people because I'll put them in my box. I make dollar boxes and they'll say $1 every card and they're all top loaded cards. But I'll also put in dollar cards in my like team bins, in my team ones and stuff like that. And how much is this card? And it's just in a top loader. If it's only in a top loader and there's no price tag on it, it's only $1. So you kind of have to tell people that, hey, any of those ones in that box that don't have a price tag, they're just $1. But constantly, but it also gets you talking to people and, you know, hey, anybody you're looking for specifically or anything like that, you know, oh, I'm looking for Brock Purdy. I don't know if I have any Brock Purdy's, but you might want to look in the 49ers over here, you know, or something like that. Usually is the way that's going to work, but it at least gets you talking and conversing with people. Because like I said, you know, by the time they get to your table, they've maybe been to 5 or 6 of those other ones where the guy's been staring at his phone. So that guy's going to hang out more at your table because you're talking to him. You seem polite. And then especially, I mean, I had one guy who went through my quarter bins 8 separate times and made 8 separate transactions. And I'm almost sure it's because I was super friendly with him and I gave him killer deals. Like near the end, when I was just blowing out my cards, I literally, the guy had a giant stack and he's like, hey, I counted these up. I have 100 some cards. I'm like, just give me $10. Like at that point, the guy had already spent $200 on quarter cards. So more power to you, dude. Like at that point, I'm going to give you a hell of a deal. And that is one thing I do is you know, even the shop had a booth and they brought the dollar cards from the shop. Here's the way I do it on a 3-day show. And I told my boss to do it. I don't know if he did it, but I said, Friday's opening day, you just leave them at $1. That's when the people are going to really pick out the ones that they want. And again, we had like 20 boxes of dollar cards from the shop. Second day, you do 2 for 1. 2 for 1. It's Saturday on a 3-day show like that. Saturday is always going to be your busiest day. That's the day you want to have deals. That's the day you want to have deals. Everybody always thinks it's going to be the last day that you want to have deals. You want to have the deals, good deals, but not the crazy deals. You want to have good deals on Saturday. 2 for 1, a lot of dollar cards are going to get bought because, hey, they were $1 yesterday. Now they're only 50 cents. Here's the thing is if you, like me, want to get rid of the cards and not bring them home and not haul them back and not have to deal with them anymore, that Sunday, I told them, make them 3 for 1. You know, make them 4 for 1. Who the heck cares at that point in time? Make them so dang cheap that some people are going to do that. Also, don't be afraid to sell your cards in bulk. I had a thing. I ended up I took 14 boxes worth of cards. I came home with 2. And the reason and the how I did that was there was a guy that was a dealer and he said, "Hey, would you be interested in selling bulk?" And I said, "Sure." My last day, I was only doing Friday and Saturday. I said, "Saturday, come over, we'll make a deal." And so he looked at the things. He said, "What do you want on these quarter boxes?" I said, $100. And he's like, "Okay, I can do that." And he said, "This football box and these basketball cards, what do you want on those?" Kind of peeked at him. I said, $100. And he said, "Fine." And then he said, "The hockey box," and I collect hockey. So I said, I'm not as willing to part with the hockey in bulk because I'd like to rebuild those boxes. But I said, feel free to, pull cards out and we'll make a deal. And he pulled $75 worth of cards. And I said, let's call it $50. And he said, cool, $250 on all this. And he took all of it with him, $250. Boom, in my pocket, good. Now, that's also one of those things with a card show, you have to consider in how much you're paying for your table. In general, like 2 tables at a smaller show is going to cost you $150 for the day or something like that. If it's 2 days, maybe it's $200. So, the key is you want your $200 back and maybe your $50 in gas, get another $50 for just the time. And granted, $50 is probably paying you $5 an hour for what you took to set up and load up and all that stuff, but whatever. At least, so, you kind of put in your head, I need to make $300 to kind of be even. And that's usually, I'll make some decent deals with some people because maybe I have this Adrian Peterson right here in my box and it's $250. And the guy goes, "Hey, would you take like less for it?" I'm like, "Make me an offer." Guys, $225. And I go, "Sure." And I go, "Hey, cool. I'm almost close to my 300 in my first deal." That's where, like, once you hit that, then you can kind of, everything's gravy, I always consider after that. So that's my suggestion on that one, is kind of figure out what you're paying. This show was $500 for the 2 tables for 3 days. So it was a little pricier. And in a way, I don't like the way that they were priced because I was kind of on the outskirts. Now, when you're like me and you have a lot of quarter and dollar box stuff, you don't want to be in the middle amongst all the things. You want to have extra chairs outside so people can sit there and dig. So, but I wish that they would some places do this where it's like the middle and the front door area and stuff's $500 for the 2 tables. It's $400 on the outskirts, and the guys that are super far away, it's only $300. Kind of figure out where you want to be on some of those ones like that. If they're staged pricing, some places do that, some places don't. But some places are also super cheap. There's one show I do, and it was like $75 for a table. I'd do 2 tables, and it didn't matter where I was. It's not a big venue. People will come find you anyways if you have connections or if you have good deals or good prices. Like I said, you can kind of round people up. "Hey, how's it going? How's it going? Come over here. I'm making killer deals today." Things like that to get people over to your table. See, another thing to talk about. Oh yeah, cash. Cash is king at a show. Make sure you bring change. Now, you don't need a ton of change. 3 5s, 15 and 1s, couple 10s, couple 20s, good to go, But it drives me crazy. I'm one of those people, I bring way too much change sometimes. Sometimes I have like $50 in ones and stuff, and then I end up having 200 ones or something at the end of the show or something. But I always have a bunch of change. And the reason is because I cannot tell you how many dealers are posted on next to, "Oh, hey man, do you have like some 1s and some 5s or anything?" And it's like, I'll give them $20 and change. Like, you have 2 1s and like a 5 in your wallet. And that's what you brought as change. Or some people don't even think. Other thing is, have Venmo and PayPal. Cash, Venmo, and PayPal is 99% of the way I am paid for a show. It is not hard to sign up for Venmo. It is not hard to sign up for PayPal. Those funds will transfer right into your account, or you can save them in your account and just leave them there. There's times where at the end of a show, I had got a whopping $35 in payments on PayPal, and I'm like, just leave it in there. Maybe I'll go buy something on eBay or something with it. Just set up those though. And then you can do like I do, where I print out the scan things, but your phone, it literally has the pay me scan thing, and they can scan it and they can instantly pay you. Make sure they pay you in friends and family. You don't want goods and services because that's going to take a percentage out. And they also can eventually like cancel the deal. I had that happen one time where the guy's like, "Oh, I'm making this," like, he was buying like $1,000 purchase from me. And he was like, I want to do it in goods and services. And I said, well, there's a fee. And he's like, yeah, I'll pay you 1,100 for the 1,000. I'm like, okay, yeah, fine, whatever. And it ended up being like $987 or something like that. I was like, I don't really care about the $13 like that. I was kind of annoyed, but I was like, whatever, fine. And of course, like 2 days later, he filed some complaint saying that like the item he purchased did not work or something like that. And then I had to get in this dispute with him, and I told him no, he bought cards from me at a card show and everything. I mean, I ended up getting the money, but it was some totally scammy thing. So thing is friends and family, you have no recourse on friends and family. That's why you never want to pay somebody friends and family over a card deal that you made on Twitter or something. I mean, if it's $5, who cares? You lost $5, whatever. But you don't want to go buying a $500. Some guy's trying to sell you I don't know, Mickey Mantle rookie for $1,000 on Twitter, and you're just going to send him $1,000 friends and family. Guess what? You're not getting a Mickey Mantle rookie, and he's keeping that $1,000. But that's the way. I mean, that's the way it goes. It's the way it is. Payment though, yeah, make sure you do that. Also, bring supplies. I don't know how many people don't bring supplies. Bring markers, bring pens, bring some post-it notes. I bring my price gun. I bring some top loaders. I bring penny sleeves, because sometimes you get cards maybe in trade. Get those things priced up, get them in the box, get them sold. I learned that from a friend the first time I started doing shows, and I'll tell you, it changed my world, and it sounds so stupid, but I remember he had a card that was like $100. Kid's like, will you trade me for this card? And he like looks up the card, and the card's comping at like 125, and he's like, threw out a crazy number. He said, I can give you $80 in trade. And the kid's like, okay, and buys the one card, gives him $20, and then he took that card, put 125 on it, slaps it in the case. Guy walks up 3 minutes later. Ooh, what's the best deal you can make on that? I don't know, make me an offer. And the guy's like, will you take 110 for it? And he's, yeah, sure, I'll do that. And he goes, I just made $30 more over that $100 card. I'm like, this is amazing. Me regularly, I can't tell you how many times I took cards in trade and I just threw them in my card box, and I was like, I'll put those out at the next show or something like that. One time, digging through my card box in a paper sack, I had a Tom Brady rookie. Totally forgot I took in trade. Kid you not, had been sitting there for like 8 months. It was like, oh, it would have been nice to know I had this $800 card sitting in here that I'm sure I gave up $1,000 worth of cards in trade or something for. So you don't want to do that. You want to pay attention to like what you got moving around and everything. But yeah, I bring quarter cards, dollar cards, $5 cards. The guy that was set up in my booth with me, he sold $7,000, $6,000 worth of cards. He sold like 3 cards, 5 cards, something like that. And I even said like the way the card shows work, it seems to be like on that Friday morning, 2:00, or Friday afternoon, 2:00, when people first came in, those are going to be like repack guys, big buyers that kind of come in and they like go through every booth, and that's who bought his cards. And I even said, man, that guy just gave you like $6,500. He said, yeah, but I took a bath on those, He's like, one of those cards was like a card I paid $5,000 for, That's the problem with selling big cards. Rest of the show, he literally sold $20 more worth of cards because he had only brought so many $5 and $10. I was busy the entire time, and he was like, man, you're killing it. I wasn't killing it money-wise, but I was killing it in like, there was 5 or 6 people at my table at all times, and it's $7 transaction here, $22 here. This guy just picked out $100. This guy picked out $42. This guy picked out $35. It adds up, it adds up. And make sure you have cards, especially if it's a multi-day show, have cards to replace the cards that you're selling. Because I ended up selling so much that I had made some grab boxes that I had put, $20 on or something. And I ended up just busting into those and putting those cards that were in the grab boxes back into the quarters. And luckily I had busted into them because like I found like 4 Paul Skeen first Bowmans that are like $5 cards in a box that I had marked at 20. So because he hadn't been called up or anything. He wasn't anything big when I had put him in there. So, I dropped him into the Pirates thing. And of course those got sold. If you have enough cards also to do them by teams, do your cards, make little tags and do cards by teams. You can literally just take something as simple as a piece of cardboard and write Royals on it and drop this in front of the cards, and it's sitting there and it says Royals, and put the Royals cards behind it. It does help people because there's people that I only collect Oakland Athletics, I only collect Yankees cards or something like that. If you have them. Now, sometimes when it comes to like basketball, for instance, I don't have enough basketball cards. I have like 20 basketball cards maybe in my whole booth I had. So that's my NBA cards. Same with Pokemon. Those are my Pokemon cards. I have like 20 cards sitting there. Those ones like that, just do it that way. Quarter cards, all I do is quarter cards by sport. No need to divide those up. They're literally quarter cards. Let people dig. But I have MLB in those boxes. I have NFL in those boxes, NHL in those boxes. I always do miscellaneous because I have those ones where you got bowling cards and Star Wars cards and Dukes of Hazzard cards or whatever weird garbage pail kids, Marvel cards, whatever you got. I just put those in a miscellaneous. And it could be anything from pro wrestling cards to, like I said, pro bowling cards or something weird that you got it, maybe. Thing is, my number one suggestion on dollar cards, but especially on quarter cards too, don't water down your boxes. Put good cards in them. Now you can put your, just like this, hockey superstars, Jason Robertson, or your Ovechkin, one out of a thing in there. What you don't want is my tub down here of base cards, and you just have a million base cards of nonsense in your quarter things. Because what will happen is people will sit down, they'll start looking, and they see a bunch of BS cards that suck, and they go, no need to keep looking through these. Literally that guy, he finds a Bo Jackson rookie in my quarter cards. That guy sat there for the next hour digging out, and he picked up, $150 worth of quarter cards because he went, wow, there's good cards in this guy's quarter box. I'm not saying you need to put $5 cards in your quarter box like me, but what I am saying is there's good cards in my quarter cards. You want $1 and $2 cards. Almost the way to think about it, and where I'm saying that you don't need to price out your cards. If you're like me and you've bought and sold enough cards, you kind of know the prices off the top of your head, values and stuff of certain cards, but you can even look up certain guys and you just know, Desmond Ritter and Mac Jones aren't selling for a bunch. So when you find those, throw those in your quarter, maybe throw them in your dollar if you want. My thing always, like I said, I downgrade mine, but I've known people, and it's smart. They're like, anything that's $2 or less, I put in like a dollar bin or a quarter bin even. Anything that's $3 to $5, $6, I put for $3. Anything that is $7 to $10, I put for $5, and that's all I have. I have $1, $3, $5. Some amazing deals. Some ones maybe somebody paid $1 more for, whatever. And they're like, I make deals anyways. So that guy doesn't care when he pulls out 6 $3 cards and it's $18. I say, give me $15. The guy's like, oh, cool, I got a card for free. That's the way to do it, to move cards. Like I said, your goal should be moving cards. So without keeping this like video super long or crazy, I'm at like half an hour now. That would be my suggestions. It doesn't need to be fancy. Have some nice boxes, make some signs, take payment, make sure you have change. Be as friendly and personable. One thing, if you do have quarter and dollar boxes, here's one thing. Almost always at shows, they might give you one table, one chair, or two chairs per, usually one chair per table is what they'll give you. Sometimes they'll only give you one chair and you have two tables. I always bring 2 extra folding chairs, and I put those out in front of my stuff because that way people have somewhere to sit. Like sometimes it's an older guy or something, big fat guy, they just want to sit down and look through your cards. If you give them a chance to sit down and look through your cards, they'll usually almost always buy something. So, bring snacks, bring yourself some drinks, bring stuff like that. Plan on, you're going to be sitting there all day by yourself. And yeah, it might get boring. Chat with people, talk to people. There's nothing wrong with looking up the score of the baseball game and even, oh man, the Rockies are up by 2 right now or something. There's nothing wrong with that, but be friendly, talk to people. Another suggestion, always set up early. If load-in is at noon, be there at noon. Don't be that guy that shows up at 2:30. I get it. Some people have jobs and things, and that's why they're running late or maybe something. I load my vehicle the night before, and I get there as early as possible because as soon as I get set up, even if the show's open at 2 and the load-in was noon to 2, there's times where I've sold $500, $600, $700, $800 worth of cards to other dealers that also set up, and they're kind of looking around for deals for cards that maybe you have such a good price on, or they want that card, and they'll buy from you. So there's times where I've literally made my nut and gotten already in the plus money and the show hasn't even started. So show up early, set up, you know. And then one thing, what I was saying on sales. So what I did, that's where I went into the tangent on the shop thing. Is so Friday I left my cards the same. 2 o'clock on Saturday I made signs. All these boxes, anything in a white box, half off. And then I put I had wax. I put 25% off on any wax. And that gets people that have already come to your booth. Now it's, hey, I was looking before, he had some pretty good cards, or, oh man, he's doing them half off. And they're just buying more now. And it was an easy way to get rid of cards. And that's one thing, is kind of come up with I've done that before, where I had slabs and I just did not care. I did not care about them. And I just slapped a sign on it, said these slabs 50% off. And it was because there's 2 hours left of the show. And maybe you end up selling 4 more slabs because of that, or something like that. Maybe that guy that saw your slabs earlier went back. I mean, I had one guy looking through my boxes and he came back and ended up buying Trevor Zegras Young Guns and stuff because I had them at half off. He got a Zegras that's a $30 card for $15, and he was like, oh yeah, I'll buy that all day, kind of thing. That's why. So, do that. Like I said, that's my suggestions on working card show. So anyways, thanks for watching this video. Like, subscribe, do all that stuff. I just posted the last 2 breaks from Mike Stadium Sports Cards. We'll do 2 breaks next month. I'm going to probably try to do Upper Deck Extended and do the Series 2 baseball. We'll probably try to do those 2 breaks next month. If you are not a local person, you can always come into the store and pay for a spot once we get those breaks put together. Follow Mike's on the Facebook page. That's where he posts them. You can always call the shop, pay by credit card. We do ship the cards. So anyways, that's where we're doing breaks now. I'm trying to do 2 next month. So anyways, thanks so much for watching.